Can Marcell Ozuna continue his recent dominance? Is Gavin Williams an ace for the rest of the season? Join us today where we provide you with the best must-add players heading into the weekend on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ane. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do those two things for us. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit the little bell below. It subscribes you to the channel, also gives you a notification of every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, but most importantly, subscribe to us on the Subtext website. It's that time of year where you want to make sure you're locked on to fantasy baseball. A little bit of a pun intended there. You know, everyone else is chiming out, moving on to football. You don't want to be that guy. This is the chance where, you know, you can make that final little push, get those sneaky ads that will put your team over the top heading into the second half. And joining us on Subtext will get that done for you with instant prospect call-ups, injury alerts, and much, much more than we could offer on this 30-minute podcast. And guys, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is the official sports book of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. And Locked On Fantasy Baseball fans, we have a fully loaded episode for you today. As always, let us be your team secret weapon as we provide you with the best must-add players heading into the weekend. And Matt, we got an interesting one up first. Why don't you go ahead and take the lead, brother?
Yeah, I'll one up this one for us. No, about that up. Got you. All right, let's talk about Mr. Marcelo Ozuna. My guy is hot again. I mean, we'll periodically talk about this dude every time he gets hot, because when he gets hot, it's like touching the stove barehanded after it's just been cooking for 6 hours on high. So, I mean, my guy is just killing it right now with this last week going on, man. It's like 7 runs, a bomb, 9 ribs, batting .344. Clearly, this is absolutely unsustainable, and clearly we've seen that he can't sustain this kind of level of production. So at 56% owned, I feel he should be more owned while he's hot and heavy right now. Scoop him up now while he's hot, and then the second he's not, drop him like he's hot, because that's pretty much just always going to be Marcelo Ozuna. It's just a simple, easy ride the wave type player.
Yeah, man, I don't know if I fully agree with that take. I think he definitely is a ride the wave type of guy, but I think we can ride him out till the rest of the year. There's not too much time left, and with the ebbs and flows of Ozuna, but he plays on the Braves. He's been hitting fourth in the middle of that lineup. He definitely has the power, and he's in the lineup to win you any given week with his home runs, RBIs, even runs. The batting average has actually been really solid since April, March through 18 games. He hit .085, but then in May with 24 games, he hit .297. In June, 23 games, he hit .309. He did have a down July where 23 games he hit .209, but he did contribute 6 home runs and 12 RBIs and 11 runs. And he's red hot again, as Matt mentioned, in August, 15 games, 9 runs, 2 homers, 11 RBIs, and he has a .291 batting average over that time. With Ozuna, I think at 56% owned, if you need a little extra power in your lineup, I'm not guaranteeing batting average, but I'm pretty much guaranteeing power in RBIs and even runs in that solid lineup in Atlanta, one of the best teams in all of baseball. I think Marcell Ozuna at this time of year, you don't really get a much better ad than that. So let's keep things going. Let's talk about Maikel Garcia. Garcia's just been like pretty consistently good since, you know, he's come up here with the Kansas City Royals, kind of propelled that lineup that really wasn't doing much until this guy came in. He's been hitting leadoff consistently. His numbers on the year look super fantastic. .290 batting average, 42 runs, 4 homers, 40 RBIs, and 18 steals for Garcia. He's only 38% owned. I honestly think that needs to be bumped up this time of year, like 60-70% owned for Garcia. I think is more like where he should be, because this is the time of year where you need guys that are hot. Like my theory is, it's not the time of year where you're going to say, oh, well, I'm waiting on this guy. He has upside. No. You don't want to play that game. You don't want to risk missing out on a pickup like this. Garcia's 23 years old. His, minor league track record isn't like phenomenal, but it's pretty solid. In 2022 in the minors, he had 285, 39 steals. The year before, 291 with 35 steals. So, Garcia has shown, that he can contribute. So I think you're going to get runs. I think you're going to get steals, and I think you're going to get a solid batting average with Garcia. Definitely one of my favorite guys we're talking about today. Once again, Maikel Garcia, Kansas City Royals, third and short eligibility on Yahoo, 38% owned.
Yeah, no, I like it. Great job, man. I'm going to move on here. We're going to talk about a guy that's been going Super Saiyan over the last couple days, and
I
that's
like that.
that's Seiya Suzuki. My guy has just been, going full Goku on them this last week with 4 runs, 2 bombs, 4 ribs, and batting 368. It kind of started last week when he just put up a nice batting average and was starting to show that, hey, he's about to start heating up. He's doing the super like he's powering up, getting ready to go his hair yellow, and then boom, this week he's just taking off to the races. So right now I say Adam, see where the world takes us with him. I love this kid from when he was getting called up last year. A little bit more of a down year. I didn't, expected him to be a little bit further along in terms of power. I was hoping he'd be closer to like a 25 home run guy. He's on pace for maybe 22, if that. So we'll see what happens. I also figured we'd get a little bit more stolen base action out of him this year. But who knows? Maybe it's going to take him, 3 years to adjust to this league. But, the Super Saiyan himself should be good for the next couple weeks until he cools off.
Yeah, man, I love the nickname. I think that's another one that we're gonna make stick around here. Super Saiyan Seiya Suzuki. I absolutely love it. As Matt mentioned, he came over from Japan last year. We kind of had lofty expectations for him. I know a lot of guys, a lot of experts in the fantasy industry were predicting, some crazy stats for, the guy, but he hasn't really done it all. We're kind of waiting to see it all click. As Matt mentioned, sometimes it takes, even for prospects, takes a few years to adjust to big league pitching. Maybe next year is the big breakout year for Seiya, but ride Seiya while he's hot, going Super Saiyan here. Maybe he's going Super Saiyan 2. Maybe he takes it to Super Saiyan 3 over the next, couple of weeks. We'll see where it goes. 47% owned for Seiya. I love the upside here in that Cubs lineup. But let's keep things pushing real quick, and let's talk about Maikel Conforto. Maikel Conforto is, a curious case. He's over in San Francisco, not a great park to hit in. The team's been actually a little bit better than people suspected, but he has just caught absolute fire here of late. So I figured, we got to throw his name out here with Conforto being only 32% owned. Check these numbers out. The last 7 days for Conforto. He's 10 for 18, which is good for a 556 batting average. He has 5 runs, 2 homers, 3 RBIs. He's been hitting cleanup in that San Fran lineup. Tyro Estrada's back. There's a couple of guys in that lineup that, he can drive in. So with that being said, I think, I was still thinking about Seiya Suzuki. Maikel Conforto at 32% owned is somebody you can get owned. But Matt, real quick before I pass it off to you, my brother, and he gives his take on Conforto, we talk about an Atlanta Brave. We talk about the guy I mentioned at the top, Gavin Williams. I don't know why you guys don't have him on more teams. We talk about his teammate, and then a few other guys that, you may or may not have heard of. I want to talk to you guys about Nutrafol. You don't have to choose between better hair growth and your health. Nutrafol provides a whole body health approach for men that promotes healthier hair. Did you know that 80% of men will experience hair thinning in their lifetime? It's normal, but it doesn't have to be your fate. You can get ahead of thinning with Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve your hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Once again, it's Nutrafol.com/men, spelled NUTRAFOL. snoozeful.com/men and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Once again, that's snoozeful.com/men and the promo code you want to enter is LOCKEDONMLB. And dear everydayers and new listeners, we have an incredible opportunity for you to support the show and enjoy some fantastic perks along the way. Introducing our Diamond Club on the Subtext website. By becoming a member, you not only contribute to the show's success, but also gain access to exclusive benefits. Get your hands on waiver wire rankings, call-up alerts, injury updates, instant reactions, and enjoy direct access to us for all of your burning fantasy baseball questions. Plus, you can try it out completely free for 14 days. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to connect with you on this exciting journey. Join our Diamond Club today on Subtext, and let's take your fantasy baseball experience to new heights. And guys, I keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm sorry if you're tired of it. But if you are already a member of the Diamond Club, and, anyone who joins from now to September 1st, you get, a coveted chance to join the raffle for our listener league next year. Come play with the pros, show Matt and I what you got. It's going to be a fun time talking trash with you guys, going back and forth. And just, playing fantasy baseball is what we all love to do. So why not join Matt and I in Subtext as we have this listener league ready to go for next year. But Matt, as always, a lot of talking from me there. Why don't you give your take on Maikel Conforto?
Yeah, I like Mr. Conforto. I mean, my guy's just having a monster week. I kind of wish I scooped him up last week, batting 556 and whatnot. But hey, we'll see where it takes us. I mean, I don't know about his long-term aspirations and what we're really to expect with him, but the numbers on the season ain't bad either. Who knows? Maybe this, end of the second half, he can really turn it on and really take it to the next level. I think he did get paid the big bucks, I think, last year or this year. So, they did invest in him. So let's see what he can do and go from there. But let's move on here. Let's talk about the bane of my existence here. That's Mr. Nicky Lopez. Okay. We all know how much I love Von Grissom, but Von Grissom hasn't started since he got the call up. Nicky Lopez has played. So let's just put it like this. I know yesterday I said he's a must-add, but hey, listen, you got to stay like water when it comes to these players. At this point, I believe that they pretty much just hate Von Grissom because the dude can't catch the ball for the life of him. But it is what it is. They got no room for him. They should have traded him at the deadline. But let's talk about Nicky Lopez and how fantasy relevant he is. Nicky Lopez is having a great week. My guy has had 5 runs, 2 bombs, 3 ribs, and batting 556. Oh, God, that's Maikel Conforto. I apologize. Here we go. Lopez. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, here we go. He has had 4 runs, 1 bomb, 8 ribs, a stolen base, and batting about 500. So I got the batting average part right. Nicky Lopez actually is awesome. I do love the kid. He's not really like a power dude whatsoever. His career high here, I think, is 2 through 565 at bats, but he can get you stolen bases. He had about 22 that season. He batted about 300. So I like what he could do for you in those peripherals. He's about a 4 category contributor, pretty much more even like a 3 because he'll get you the runs because he gets on base, obviously. He's going to get you stolen bases. He's going to bat for average, and then he'll chip in some ribs. Home runs, really, you'll get lucky and maybe have 1 or 2. His career high in the minors was 9. So it is what it is. But Nicky Lopez is definitely somebody you need to add while you're waiting for Ozzy Albies to make his return. And hopefully his hammies, don't keep him out for too long. But Nicky Lopez, I think, is a, best case scenario kind of replacement. And it's the direct replacement. So, it is what it is. But at least on that team, you're going to get the counting stats in terms of runs and batting average and stolen bases.
Yeah, Matt, we're pretty much in sync there on the Nicky Lopez take. Nicky Lopez is 13% owned on Yahoo. He's eligible at second, third, and short. He hit third in, the doubleheader on August 12th in that lineup, which, I don't think that's a sticky spot for him. But you know what? At least it shows they're willing to put Nicky Lopez in the middle of the lineup. But other than that, he's hit 9th for the last 3 games for the Braves. Once again, Nicky Lopez, even hitting 9th, they're going to see a lot of runs. I don't know if I'm on board with the batting average. He's a career 250 hitter through 1,600 plate appearances. 1,600 at bats. So the batting average is kind of going to be hit or miss, but he's definitely good for steals. He's definitely good for runs, and he's in one of the best lineups in all of baseball. And I do love the, walk to strikeout ratio with 21 walks to 31 strikeouts on the year for Nicky Lopez. So that's a great sign. So as Matt said, Ozzy Albies replacement until he gets back. Nicky Lopez, 13% owned on Yahoo. You can give him the shot. Let's talk about somebody that Matt and I love, and we kind of have talked about this guy on and off all year. We told you to pick him up before he got the call, and now he's here and he's looking great. It's Gavin Williams. Let's give you his last, totals from his last few starts. It's 25 innings pitched for Gavin Williams over the last 30 days. 36 strikeouts, a 1.44 ERA, and a 1.16 WHIP at 54% owned for Gavin Williams. Honestly, this guy should be 100%. There's not a league that Gavin Williams should not be owned in at this point. The upside is absolutely through the roof for Gavin Williams. He's one of the best, prospects in all of baseball coming up to the year, and he is living up to the hype. Honestly, I don't really think I have a bad thing to say about the kid. Once again, just the numbers have looked fantastic. I don't, he is coming close to how many innings he pitched last year. I think he's literally right there. So I still think he has maybe another 30, 40 innings if the Guardians want to give it to him. But, we'll kind of see how that plays out. I just think it's the kid's one of the best young pitchers in the game. He's got great stuff, 23 years old for Gavin Williams. And like I said, he should be pretty much perennially owned. It's one of those pause the podcast moments. Make sure he's not available in your league. And if he is, you make the room to pick him up.
Yeah, quite honestly, I don't know if they're going to send him down. I think they might just let him fly.
I hope so.
They're about 4 games out, which kind of sounds like, Matt, you're reaching here, but 4 games out behind the Twins. And yes, the Twins are rocking and rolling, but there's still a chance they can catch them with a couple bad games. So, we'll see what happens. So I think they might let Gavin Williams just go, even though, yes, he's gotten close to his career high in innings. But quite honestly, too, what are they going to put him on no, it's not his career high, dude. His career high in 2022 was 115 innings pitched. He's at 54.
Yeah, between the minors and the majors this year, he's right there.
Yeah.
He threw 60 in the minors this year, and he's thrown 54 in the big so far.
Okay. That's right. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even count that. Never mind. But yeah. So essentially, I think they're just gonna let him fly. He might hit a $140. There's no reason he can't. 115 versus a $140, $150, I guess.
That's what I was saying. He may have 40 more innings left.
Yeah, which will get him at least 4 more starts at minimum, if not 6 or 7, which would be the rest of the year. Because that's less than how many weeks are left. So if anything, what I could see happening is he may have less 2-start weeks. Because if they're getting close to that playoff run and they're about to make the playoffs, which anything can change within a month, I could see them, tailoring it down, trying to save him for the playoffs. But we shall see. But let's move on here. Let's talk about another Cleveland Guardian here, and let's talk about Mr. Logan Allen. Hopefully, I won't botch this one up, but Logan Allen has been solid over the last month with 35 innings pitched, 3 wins. 32 Ks, a 3.09 ERA, and a 1.20 WHIP. He's been going out there doing his thing. He's got lit up against White Sox in Kansas City, but Kansas City's been hot. But then held his own against Pitt, Kansas City again, Oakland. He's been having a lot of fluffy matchups. Last night was pretty nice against Cincy at Cincy and Great American Hitter Park. So Logan Allen's just solid is how I look at it. Right? He's consistent. He's not going to get blown up. He's not going to be a K per 9. But he's going to, put you in a position where you're not going to be mad at his performance ever. So it's just one of those things. The whip is just a little higher than I'd prefer, but it is what it is. Logan Allen is just consistent in that aspect. So I'm kind of comfortable just rolling him out there, seeing where he takes me at 32% owned. He needs to be owned more, in my opinion. I'm a Logan Allen guy and Dom's not. So we'll see the opposite side of this now.
I like Logan Allen, but I disagree in the fact that he's going to be consistent because, as you mentioned, the White Sox hit him around on the 29th, and he was mediocre against Kansas City on the 24th. But he's been overall not bad. He's not killing your fantasy baseball team. At 32% owned, I do agree, Matt. He does need to be closer to 60% owned at this point in the year when a guy's being consistent, like, Allen has been. You kind of ride the wave with him. Let's see, who does he get up in his next start? Because that will kind of tell you where, I'm kind of sitting with him. I think it might be like, I don't even know if he's a matchup. He gets Detroit next time out, and then he gets Toronto after that. So there's a couple, soft matchups here for Logan Allen. So, pick him up, you ride the wave, and the worst case scenario with Logan Allen is that you kind of just let him go, and it's not the end of the world. But I think Logan Allen actually is a decent pickup, and you could ride the wave for potentially the rest of the season. But before we come back and we talk about somebody you may have never heard of, we got a closer, and then we have a Dodgers pitcher. I'm going to pass things off to my brother Matt for a quick ad.
Yep. And we're going to talk about our friend Sleeper. Sleeper is a fantasy sport and real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world with over 5 million active users in 2022. At Sleeper, it's not just about the sports, it's about building personal connections and lasting memories. Sleeper Picks is our real money platform that connects friends over picks. Choose 2 to 8 of our favorite players for pregame, live, or even across different sports. Pick higher or lower than the predicted stats, and you'll win some money, up to 100 times payout. Share with your friends and get rewards together. Use a promo code Locked On, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions may apply. See Sleeper's terms and use for details. Currently operational in 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. It's one of my favorite apps. Honestly, even if you don't use any other parts of their platform for fantasy or the picks, use it just for the alerts. It is one of the best first alerts for football. It's been really great for baseball, this new thing they're doing. And I'm praying this one's a shout out to Sleeper. Get some baseball platforms for fantasy baseball. But other than that, guys, download Sleeper today. All right, Dom, go ahead. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, let's talk about this next guy, and it's Zack Littell of the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, Littell is a little bit older at 27 years old, and they're kind of transitioning him into a starter because obviously Tampa Bay has lost Shane McClanahan to Tommy John. They lost Springs. They lost Rasmussen. I don't know what's going on over there in Tampa with the pitching right now, but it's not looking great. And I mean, since he's transitioned into a starter, he's looked decent. Even his numbers on the year aren't really too bad, with a 3.99 ERA on the year through 20 games, 7 starts, 47 innings, 41 Ks, and a 1.22 WHIP, which isn't killing you. Like I said, this time of year, it's really hard to find anybody to add to your fantasy baseball team that's actually going to contribute, because everyone's pretty much gone. In his Little's last start against San Francisco, in 5.2 innings, had 5 strikeouts, gave up a couple runs, had a 0.53 WHIP, which is very, very solid. Even before that against St. Louis, 6 innings, 5 strikeouts. I think he gave up 3 runs with a 1.17 WHIP for Little. He's 16% owned on Yahoo, so you could at least take the chance with him and ride the wave, see where things goes. If you missed out on Logan Allen or Gavin Williams, I think you give Little the shot. I'm just trying to pull up who his next start is great. He gets Colorado at home. Colorado has pretty much given up at this point. They traded Cron, they traded Grichuk. Not really too much to worry about going against them. And Chris Bryant, is most likely out the rest of the year. So at Little, once again, I think is somebody you could give the chance to. If it's even only for this week against Colorado, I think it's going to be worth it. Once again, Little is 16% owned. He's a starting pitcher for the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, I just feel like going just a little 50 action, because that's all I'm going to use it for, is just a little bit. And it's just going to be this weekend, man.
I agree.
So, Zack Littell just a little bit this weekend, and just, call it what it is. But let's move on here. Let's talk about a closer. Somebody that's actually been pretty solid, and that's Gregory Santos. So Gregory Santos inherited the job after, nobody being able to fill the role, and after a couple trades. But I like what he's been doing. He fits all the criteria for a good closer that has the job in the moment. Not saying this is going to be long-term or that he's even going to be able to hold on to the job, but he has a few things going for him in terms of fantasy relevance, right? over a K per nine, because since he's had the closing job, he's been great. And the last 9 innings pitch, which is his 9 outings essentially, he's had 11 Ks in 9 innings. Fantastic. The sub-2 ERA at 1.86, a 1.24 WHIP, which that is a little high, but it is what it is. Like it, he only gets 1 inning, so he walks a guy, and there goes his WHIP. And 3 saves over this time. I love this. This is great. Now, the thing is, yes, he's on the White Sox. Yes, they're not that great. Yes, they just sold house. And of course, Eloy Jimenez just decides to get hurt with a new injury, I guess, to check every box that he's ever had, every single condition. I think the guy has Munchausen syndrome. We'll see. But anyway, Gregory Santos, I feel, is somebody you need to add, because, I mean, the close opportunities are the save opportunities are going to be there. That's the only way they're going to win games. So if they're in the games which that team can put up points, they just can't, deflect runs. Gregory Santos is going to be in the position to go out there and get you the save. So I think he's a must add right now.
Yeah, Matt, solid take there on Santos. Don't really have too much to add. I will just throw out there that he's 20% owned on Yahoo, and he has the closer's job, and I don't think it's going away. Liam Hendricks out for the rest of the year. So might as well pick up Santos if you need a closer at the moment. Let's move on to this last guy. Let's talk about Bobby Miller. Now, the thing is, Bobby Miller came out and he was doing his best Yuri Perez, Andrew Abbott impression through his first bunch of starts. And I told you, like I've said it about so many pitchers this year, no pitcher, unless you're like Randy Johnson or Pedro Martinez or, a guy of that caliber, you're not pitching to a sub-2 WHIP. A sub-2 ERA. It's just not possible. And that's what Bobby Miller did like his first 7 starts. Then he started getting hit around again, and it wasn't looking great for him. But you know what? I like to see this. He's kind of been adjusting back of late. And that's such a great sign when a young pitcher can say, you know what? The league has figured me out. How am I going to adjust to them? And he's done it. Through the last 30 days, Bobby Miller has 26.2 innings pitched, 2 wins, 23 strikeouts, a 2.70 ERA, and a 1.13 WHIP. So I think Bobby Miller is 58% owned, which is a little bit high for, the show. We do try and stay under 60, which, he's right at that, point right now. Looks like he gets potentially Miami his next time out. And as I mentioned, his last, 3 starts have looked pretty strong. Not really big on the strikeouts, but you know what? I think he'll be able to suppress some runs and, give you a little bit of distance. He's pitched 6 innings in his last 2 times out. So Bobby Miller, I think I'm back on the bandwagon for now. And he pitches on a great team, so the wins are going to be there as well. Bobby Miller, checks off a lot of good boxes heading into, this end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Bobby Miller as a whole. Also, his fifth field independent pitching is actually a little bit lower than his actual ERA on the season, which is a 3.48.
Love to see that.
Yeah. So, quite honestly, like Bobby Miller's may not be the, stalwart, rookie prospect that we all expected in a whole sum of, if you look at his total numbers. But I think next year, this guy's going to be very relevant. He's going to be on probably my breakout list for next year as one of the pitchers I like going into the next year's season. So if you're out of it and you're still, doing yourself a service and listening, just write that name down. He's one of the guys that we'll go over in the offseason of guys that we write down on a pad and come back to it when we start looking at who we're going to start prioritizing in the draft. But anyway, Bobby Miller for you now relevant in going into the playoffs and going into this weekend. Bobby Miller should definitely be added because if he has adjusted, maybe we'll see a little bit more greatness that we saw when he first came up. So Bobby Miller is all the upside in the world. With that being said, Dom, take it away.
Yeah, Matt, great take once again on Bobby Miller. Guys, just real quick, I'm going to throw something out there. As far as, if you're still listening to this point, I'm sure you're an avid fantasy baseball fanatic. And this is the time of year you really want to be locked on. You don't want to, I know you guys want to do your football stuff and your due diligence, get ready for drafts and everything. But still, keep that extra ear open here on Locked On Fantasy Baseball with us. Make sure our show's only a half hour. Give us to listen each and every day, like, our everydayers, new listeners do. We appreciate that. Just have that leg up on your competition by keeping us a part of your daily routine. We're here, 5 days a week. And it just don't give up. If you're in, right on that playoff edge, you can definitely get there with our help. If you join us on Subtext, we'll answer all of your questions as soon as we can. And I think it's a great opportunity for you guys. But guys, that's all for today. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Also, as I said, thank you to our everydays, new listeners, for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. And be sure to look out for a new episode tomorrow. We're doing a little bit of surprise, so you're going to want to make sure that you're there. But guys, until then, see you.
Peace.